Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Long. Welcome to The Writing Life. You know, when we started this show, we wanted to talk about all things writing, and that obviously includes the other end of it, which is reading. And so I'm so pleased to have Courtney Terry with us today, librarian at the McMinnville Library. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we visited just a little bit earlier. You've got a lot of stuff going on, or the library does.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Always.
Yeah.
And I will specifically, there's so much going on at the library that it's impossible to narrow it to get it all because of kids, teens, adults.
Sure.
For adults, we, just this month, we have a huge variety of history programs that are coming up.
Okay.
Starting with this week, on Thursday, we have the Poetry and Music of Ancient Mexico program.
Really?
We're going to have that at the Linfield College.
Okay.
It's a Mac Thinks program, which Mac Thinks is this amazing collaboration that the library has developed with Third Street Books, Nicholson Library at Linfield College, to bring a lot of these literary events to the community. So a lot of our author visits,
Sure.
a lot of our bigger events that we have is usually in collaboration with the Nicholson Library and Third Street Books. And so this is one of those programs. It has Cindy Williams Gutierrez, who is a Latino poet from Portland, and she's an award-winning poet. I had actually originally asked her to come to our regular poetry night that we have at the Velvet Monkey on the first Thursday of every month.
Sure.
But she is a little bit fancy. And so she's going to, I don't know how it, I guess I'm not sure how it goes in the world of Oregon poets, but she's a big name.
Okay.
And so she suggested, she has this program that she does where she reads her poetry accompanied by Gerardo Calderon, who's a Mexican musician who plays pre-Hispanic, which like Aztec instruments. And so that'll be on Thursday, and we're really excited about that. And this month we didn't end up having a poetry night at the Velvet Monkey because of the Paper Gardens Awards night, which is, again, I think sometimes people don't really know how many writing events are available in Yamhill County, but then when they all happen on the same night, we're all very aware of it.
But we're working on that. That's partly what this show is about, is to help inform people. One of the things that has interested me about you for such a long time is really you've kind of stirred up or supported writing in McMinnville or Yamhill County. How did you come about? Is that your idea? Were you tasked with that?
I don't give myself any credit for it because the community was already here. What led me to create the Velvet Monkey program for the library was we had a library patron that was coming in, and he was a veteran, and he would come in repeatedly asking about where he liked to write poetry, and he wanted to be able to share it. But he was having a hard time finding a place, and so I do a lot of the adult programming for the library, and I always enjoy exploring new ideas, and so we wanted to create a space where people like this person could come and share their work, even in I won't say it's a less professional setting, a friendly,
I was going to say more casual.
Yes, casual. I was going to say amateur, but that's not.
No, it's not not at all.
Because they're not. I mean, there's great writing, and it's just people who may have never gotten the opportunity to share it in a public space.
Sure.
Were able to. And I wasn't sure. Sometimes with library programs, it can be even the night before wondering how many people are going to show up to it, which has happened more than once.
Yeah.
But with these programs, just the support that we've gotten from the community, not just the poetry community, but just all writing, has been remarkable. And that's why we wouldn't have this program without that support.
Well, there has to be a catalyst, and I come back, I think maybe you were that. But in any event, we talked about Paper Gardens a little bit. And the attendance at last week was nearly 200, I think. And when you were talking about the collaboration between Third Street Books and your library and Nicholson, it makes me think of our community. And sometimes I think we have a little community, and that's why this works so well. And yet when you see the number of people that turn out, it seems like a bigger community.
Right.
And so it's for me at least, it supports the arts more than any place I've ever been. So I just am delighted to be here. So what else is going on?
So we have a few. At one point, I had a bunch of different invitations for all these different types of history programs, and I got so excited about each of them, and I just kept saying, yes, yes, yes. So now we have...
So there's a lot.
There's a lot. Coming up on Sunday, May 22nd,
okay,
we have two historians, or a historian and a writer, who are coming, and they have recently written a book about the history of Highway 99.
I saw that.
There was an amazing write-up in the News Register by Tom Henderson about that, which I really appreciated. Anytime we can get a little shout out to the library. But so they'll be they've gone through and they have the history of it. You know, this was built then, this law passed that did that. But they've also gone through and collected a lot of the community stories. And the News Register was actually a really great resource for finding some of those older photos.
I can imagine.
Which, I mean, I wasn't in Yamhill County at that point.
I
so
suspect not.
It was.
Yeah.
It's been really fascinating to see. And then, so that's the history program on Sunday the 22nd. And then on Tuesday the 24th, again, I just couldn't say no. We're having a history program that's sponsored by the Oregon Historical Society.
Okay.
And it's part of a series about the history of Chinese Oregonians.
Oh, boy.
Which is a very, very interesting history, but not very well known. And we specifically the person that's coming to talk is Richard Engemann, and he is going to be talking specifically about the history of Chinese restaurants in Oregon. And what works so well for McMinnville is the fact that there was a Chinese restaurant downstairs. I think it was in the Elks Lodge. There's the McMinnville Downtown Association put out the Stroll Mac book that had the historic walking tour, and that was one of the things that it mentioned, was that even during a time in Oregon where the law forbade Chinese from having businesses within the city limits or even living within the city limits, there still was this culture that existed. And so he'll be talking about the history of the restaurants, and we're hoping to also provide a little bit of background information about the restaurant that was here in McMinnville as well.
Well, that would be great. I don't have all the details on this, but I think I heard that there was at least one building on 3rd Street, one of the old buildings, that down in the basement housed Chinese workers down there.
Yes, I had heard that too.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know what the building's called.
The old Penny's building, maybe?
Possibly.
Maybe. Well, I'll have to come to the
talk
I
know.
And find out about
learn
that.
more about it.
Yeah. So kind of the theme of the program is the writing.
Right.
And getting back to that, do you write? I surprised you, didn't I?
That it's a difficult question for me. I used to write a lot.
Okay.
I was actually earlier at the library. We have a lot of the back issues of Reflections, which used to publish work from Yamhill County elementary, high school students.
Okay.
I was featured in there quite a bit.
All right.
In my elementary career, and I was trying to find, because I know that there's some Indiana Jones and or Star Wars fiction that probably exists that has my name on it. I haven't been writing very much recently, but I mean, every time I attend a poetry night or the prose night at Velvet Monkey, and I hear, it's so inspiring to me.
Sure.
And half the time I'll go home and I'll go, oh, I'm gonna write a poem, and then I'll try and think of something to write a poem about, and chickens. I don't know.
It could be good.
I'm still trying.
All right.
I mean, and that's the part, even if, as someone who does not identify as a writer, to still feel so a part of this community and welcomed in this community, I think it doesn't matter what you write if you can, anyone can still participate.
Well, you can, and there's different ways, but I'm thinking Willamette Writers, an organization I think based in Portland. I remember, I think the president had written like a letter from the president, and she said, when you're not writing, don't think of it as a failure, think of it as being fallow. So maybe that's where you're at.
Yes, there's probably all sorts of stuff up here. I just can't get it out on the page
it'll
half
come.
the time.
Okay.
I hope.
So I wanted to ask you something else. We talked about your title, and did you have an influence? And don't lie to me, because I know you did. Your mom's a librarian, is that right?
She always says that she is an accountant that works at the library.
Oh, all right.
But she does work at the Linfield Library now. But my mother is not a librarian, but I would say absolutely that I wouldn't be, and this is very relevant since it was just Mother's Day, but I mean,
that's right.
She has always encouraged me to read, and has always encouraged my creativity and the love of libraries. So that would be.
Well, I was misinformed, but we were close.
She works in a library, so you could call her a librarian.
Okay.
Although she self-describes as an accountant that works in a library.
Okay. So, you know, I wanted to ask you too. We talked about reading, and I just honestly, I think there's probably nothing more, not a greater skill or a greater love than reading. What are you reading?
Oh my goodness! Right now.
Yeah.
I'm reading. It's a very hot debut from a very popular young adult author.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy series, which is I think it's funny. You kind of have genres of books that you read that are almost like your security blanket.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You can reach out and try reading something new. And for me, young adult fantasy has always been my security blanket in terms of whenever I'm feeling down or just need to clear my head or just distract myself in some way. That's usually the genre that I go to. So it's the second book in a series. It's called The Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas.
Okay.
But I will say, I also just finished reading Animal, Vegetable, Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver.
Oh.
Her memoir of eating locally for a year from her farm in West Virginia. And it really impacted me a lot more than I was expecting.
Sure.
It's
if you haven't read this, Prodigal Summer.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait, I'm Barbara Kingsolver. I'm a huge fan.
She's so terrific.
And I listened to the audiobook of Animal, Vegetable, Miracle, which she narrates herself, which you wouldn't know that she has she's from Kentucky, so she has a slight accent, which just makes it all the more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I knew that she did. In fact, I'm trying to think. Animal Dreams, was it? I think one of her first ones. I just got the feeling that that's the part of the country that she came from.
Yes.
And then I believe Prodigal Summer is set maybe right there.
Appalachia or
Smoky Mountains.
Yes. I think, yes.
No, I think she's terrific.
That's very
yeah.
Librarian recommended.
All right.
Anything by her.
All right. Well, great. Well, Courtney, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I hope we can do this again.
Yes, please.
And keep it up at the library.
Thank you.
Right.
And I guess I will say at any point, if anyone's interested in learning more about library events, they can go to maclibrary.org. We have calendars and flyers, and of course you can always come see us too. We're really friendly.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. That's The Writing Life, and we'll see you again next time.